Okay, we're set to go now. I have two little announcements I want to make. I just want to mention the fact that we're finishing the codependency series tonight. And with the finish of it, I'm drafting up a registration form. I'm going to be doing 2 codependency groups starting in September. So if anybody wants to be part of that, we're going to make up a registration form. And if you're on the mailing list, we'll send it out to you. Okay, we'll get that out. We'll try to get it out by the beginning of August to get people registered for September. And there'll be 2 daytime groups. One will be on Tuesday and one will be on Thursday. Okay, I also want to mention that our Friday night AA group, unfortunately, has been terminated. They folded. The group, the attendance was going down until eventually they just couldn't do it anymore. But we have many other groups in our place, and our Saturday AA group at 11 o'clock is flourishing. So you can check that out also. Also, we do have a couple openings. I'm very interested in trying to get an OA group back again, in person. Okay, if anybody knows of that, and another AA group, and we in the future our Narranon group will be coming back too. So let you know all that. Okay, so slowly but surely, people are coming back into the place. Okay, we're going to be doing the last lecture tonight on inner child. So I want to read the other part of that prayer that I did last week, the one that I normally do in the morning. And that prayer actually comes, people had asked me this, comes from a book I use called Until Today. And it's one of my meditation books I use in the morning. God, my Father, and God, my Mother, God, my all. Blessed be that your presence is always wherever I am. Open my eyes that I may see you. Open my ears that I may hear you. Open my soul that I may feel your presence in me in a way that enlivens the truth of who I am. Open my heart so that I may feel, know, and express your love in every situation and under all circumstances. Open my life and read me like a book. If there's a chapter, a page, or a verse in my life that does not serve you with a greater purpose, please erase it. God, I give myself to you as a loving offering. I always recognize the ways in which you are loving me. I always be an expression of your love. I always be an expression of your truth. I always act upon your wisdom. I always bring your energy of your spirit into every situation that you can teach and that you can touch the hearts and minds of all people. I wanted to share that because I want to start off tonight by doing I'll actually do 2 visualizations and meditations during the inner child group. So I want to start off by asking you, if you don't mind, to close your eyes, just relax, and kind of go with me for a little bit of a meditation. I want you to visualize yourself as a little child getting ready to be born, getting ready to come into the world. God comes up to you and says, I want to send you on a journey into a world that at times will confuse you, into a world that is sometimes dysfunctional, in a world of struggles. And I'm going to give you a gift, 2 beautiful gifts. I'm going to give you the gift of my love. That energy and that strength will be inside of you throughout your whole entire journey on this earth. And that love will always be there. I'm also going to give you the gift of free will to allow you to make your own decisions, for it is your journey. But I make a promise to you. I will walk alongside of you on the whole entire journey. I will always be there. I will walk there and be with you. All you have to do is ask for my help, and I will be there to help you. I will send messengers. I will send teachers. I will send guides on your journey. And as you walk the journey of earth, sometimes you're going to forget that energy and that beautiful love you have inside of you. You're going to forget the little child I created within you. You get caught up in the world around you. And sometimes you won't be able to ask for that help. But I am very patient. I'll be with you. And whenever you're ready. Unfortunately, I know you'll have to go through your struggles to get ready. And yet, you know I'll be there. And so we begin a journey tonight, a journey to our inner child, a journey to our inner self. And that journey deep within is filled with the gift and the power of God's love. And as we go on the journey tonight to experience this, to experience our journey, help us to rekindle and to relearn that beautiful little child, the child of love God has given us on the inside. And so in this spirit, if you open your eyes and come back, it's in this spirit that we're going to share tonight the journey to the inner child. I always love doing this because to me, it is the core of a lot of my own recovery. You ever get in touch with that inner voice, that inner child? We have a lot of names for this little inner child. We call it the inner child, some call it the conscience, some call it the spirit, some call it that little feeling that goes on inside of us that touches us and guides us. But in many, many different ways, deep within us, we have a beautiful little child that will guide us and show us and lead us back to our Creator and lead us back to the place we're supposed to be. But we're human, and we have to go through something called struggle. And struggle is part of the inner child journey. And struggle is something we start with just at our birth. And I'll share a story. And this is primarily, the ones that really understand this will be the mothers in this room. At the moment of birth, a little child is inside that womb, getting ready to be born. The little child's very comfortable. It likes it there. It really doesn't want to go out there. But then there's this doctor that keeps saying, push. The little kid inside says, I'm not going. The doctor says, keep pushing. Now, the first struggle, the first battle takes place between that little child and the adult. And that little child goes through the struggle and pain of birth. And when it gets to the other side, this doctor actually takes the child and slaps it. I was just nice and warm and comfortable. I had to go through this channel, this struggle, and then I get slapped. Put me back in, will you? The bottom line is, I use that concept because it really is the first struggle we go through to experience joy, to experience love, to experience a sense of family. You heard this saying so many times. It takes a community, it takes a whole place to raise a child. I truly believe that. I think back to the beginnings of Alcoholics Anonymous, to the founders, and the founders discovered something. Both Bill W. and Bob tried on their own to get sober. It's only when they were able to come together, and together they were able to start the process. I don't think they truly knew this, but they were actually teaching us something so powerful and beautiful as more and more people got together. And in that first step, the first word is the most important word in the first step. It's the word we, not I. And so as we go on the journey of life, we're going to experience all different types of individuals and peoples. And unfortunately, because we're human and because we have free will, there will come a time when we'll kind of forget the child that's inside of us and try to work simply on the adult inside of us. Then, unfortunately, the two things of codependency come into play, and that's control and fear. And it's sad because control and fear are very destructive. And yet, so many of us get caught up in trying to figure life out, analyze life, and find the concept of it instead of living it. And so tonight we're going to go on a journey to understand what I call the trauma child and the love child. The trauma child, the child is going to go through certain traumas, certain hurts, certain pains, different parts of dysfunctionality from all of its family systems, because we're human beings. And yet deep down inside, it's a love child that constantly connects with that child, helps that child to grow. And later on, we'll experience what we call, the adult trauma. And then later on, the adult love. All these things are part of this process we have to go through in life to rediscover, to re-meet, and to reconnect with that beautiful, beautiful gift God gave us in life. That beautiful little child, the power, the energy, the healing, the process of love. A Course in Miracles says this so beautifully. Their philosophy is that we can overcome fear through the energy and the power of love. Love is the great healer. It brings us together. It helps us to overlook things. It helps us to bond, to be connected to one another. It's all part of the process we are. So we have a tremendous need for one another, but we're human beings. So what do? We get caught up in that aspect of control. I'm going to figure it out myself. I can handle it. Now, deep down inside, we understand about the little child. And that little child then becomes what I call the trauma adult. I'll show you what I mean. A little child, we understand. When I'm just born, I'm laying in my crib at night and I'm hungry at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't think like the adults and say, well, my parents are sleeping. I won't bother them till 7 o'clock in the morning. Nah. They want to eat when they want to eat, and it's time to eat, so get up and feed me. The bottom line is, get up and change me. Get up and take care of me. And I'm going to make you a little bit struggle as you go through it. So it's all part of the process. And we see that. That leads us to the ultimate process we go through in life. And that is the concept of the adult and the child. The adult in us is the part of us that has a tendency to be a little analytical, logical, is able to organize things, figure them out, and work things in that direction. The child inside of us is our spontaneity. It's our spirit. It's our energy. It's that little Snoopy that's inside of us. It's kind of running around doing what it wants to do. And very many times in life, we have the battle that goes on between the adult and the child. A good example of this very many times is the alarm clock goes off in the morning and part of me doesn't want to go to work. The little kid inside of me says, oh, good, stay home. Let's go play. Let's go have fun. Let's do this. Let's do that. But the adult in me gets out of bed, groans a little bit, hopefully says to the little child, I know you want to play, but I'm going to go to work though. When I come home, then we'll play. See, there's a thing in life we have to learn, and that is the balance between the adult and the child. Yet that child's going to come up inside of us at some of the strangest times. At times, the child will have a little pity pot because it doesn't get its way. It'll get mad sometimes, it'll get angry, it'll go through changes. And sometimes we'll experience this, which is all normal. And yet somehow we have to work out that balance between the two so they can talk to one another. And that's the important part. As we give voice to that little child and allow it to express itself and express its feelings, the adult gives that little child permission. And then the adult listens to the child and helps the child to sort through things. We talked a lot about this last week, to sort through things and to balance them out. Because we're normal, we're going to go through things in our life that are going to upset us. And so many times we try somehow to figure out why. Why is this happening? Well, the bottom line is whatever's going on in your life, whatever went on in your life, whatever journeys you're going through, happened because it was supposed to happen. The secret is I can lament about it. I can have a tantrum about it. I can beat myself up about it. But eventually I've got to come to that beautiful gift we find in the first step of the program. I have to come to surrender and to acceptance. And I'm telling you, it's not easy. To surrender is not easy. Because in surrendering, you're actually saying, I can't control this. I need help. And as soon as you can say those words, help, then all of a sudden, the higher power, God, sends messengers into our life. Some of those messengers you might not like. Some of those messengers will carry great messages. And sometimes we won't listen to those messengers because our head will get in the way again. This thing up here, I told you this many times. When I die, the first thing I'm going to say to God, I'm going to tell God, when you made us, you made a mistake. You should have put an off-on switch up here so I could shut the sucker off and break it. We think too much, we analyze too much, the adult gets too strong sometimes. And then we end up being more external than internal. I share my own life, my own journey. Back in 1972, when I was 32 years old, as a result of my work, my stuff, my running around, my craziness, a result of one of my addictions, I ended up with a nervous breakdown in a psychiatric hospital. And God sent a messenger into my life. I was a doctor. The doctor said to me, and I was a priest, he said, Vince, you're spiritually dead. You have no idea who you are. Oh, you function very well externally. You're getting everything done. You're organized. You got this done. You got that done. You run all kinds of programs. But who are you? What are you really all about? Who are you on the inside? You see, I become so much of an adult that I was operating totally on logic, totally on control, totally on fear. Biggest fear of all, I guess, deep down inside was fear of making a mistake, fear of doing it wrong, fear of criticism, fear of a lot of things. And that was my life for almost 44 years. Even though the messenger came while I was in a hospital. And what the messenger did, it planted a seed. But it took me from 1973 to 1986 to finally watch that seed grow. Because I was too busy living on the external with fear of the internal. See, so many of us are scared to go within. And unfortunately, sometimes we have to be pushed to go within. You know, my own journey in my own life, a very special person, confronted me one time when I was, back in 84, 85, and recommended I go see a doctor because I had a major eating disorder problem back then, which I didn't think was an eating disorder. I just thought I was a big guy. What could I tell you? I ended up going to see the doctor because I got, excuse my language, I got pissed off at her, got angry at her, and I wanted to go see the doctor to prove her wrong. Does that sound like a grumpy little kid inside? That was a trauma kid. I wanted to prove her wrong. I went to see that doctor, and I thank God this day, that doctor turned my life around, began a journey with me. And by the way, when I first went there, I didn't like him at all. And I grew to love him. It's amazing sometimes what that trauma child can do to us on the inside. It's like I basically don't want to do it. No, 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 no. And I can even throw a tantrum. And yet sometimes when you walk through that and go to the other side, you get to meet the love child. You get to meet the energy inside of you. You get to finally surrender. You finally get some help to say those magic words. Help me. Beautiful thing about this journey is God is always there. God is always guiding us. He simply wants us to go deep down inside, to meet that little child and be able to say, the love child, help me. You'll be okay. It's okay. You can get through this. And there's where the two children get into conflict with one another. The trauma child gets all upset. The trauma child, has a kind of a pity pot. Everything else down the line, they have a good one too. And we have to tell a little kid to get off the pity pot and finally be able to look at things through a different set of life. But we got to go through both. That's why these are all part of who we are. The trauma child is part of who we are. The love child. We have the trauma adult, the control adult, the fear. And then basically find deep down inside that little child inside of us eventually able to heal us and put us back together again and allow us to go on our journey. Deep down within each and every one of us, there is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful little child, a beautiful little gift. You know, I find this so interesting because only until I began to do this work, to get in touch with that little boy inside of me, that I finally began to realize how special and how beautiful I am. But the beautiful part about that is, it's all part of that, what that doctor was telling me. It was learning how to love myself, learning how to treat myself in a positive way. Do I do that on a regular basis? I try, but I still have my little tantrums. I still beat myself up once in a while. I still fall back into the old patterns. It's all part of the process we all go through. And that's why it's important to get to know who you are, to get to know the process of yourself. When we do the group process, we usually do a system called family sculpting. And we actually sculpt a family, get you to look at things in a kind of a powerful way. And part of that family sculpting process is, I'm going to do a little bit of it with you tonight. Normally I would do this if I was doing the lecture in person, we'd act this out in front. But I can't do that this way, but I'm going to do it. I'll kind of explain it to you and I'll try to visualize it to you. When I was going through therapy, my therapist did this to me and showed me how to do this. My therapist actually had different people in my group play different roles. And so somebody actually played me as a little boy. Now, when I did this in the lecture hall, Jerome was always my little boy because he had to lay down on the floor. And no matter, before I even started doing it, he'd raise his hand and come running up. So basically, there he is. There's my little kid right up there. But the bottom line was, my therapist had me lay down on the floor, took a chair, put it over my two legs, had the visual of my mother sat in the chair, and then my mother basically had one foot on one side, one foot on the other side of me. And it was symbolic that as a little boy, I was still in my mother's womb. It was the concept of control. It was a visual of it. On my mother's shoulders was somebody playing addiction. My mother had a pill problem and a compulsive overeating problem. And so addiction was on her shoulders. On the opposite end of my head, over the top of my head, someone played the role of depression. And my therapist actually said, I was probably depressed since I was 2. I said, thanks a lot. But I realized now what really the therapist was saying to me. It's because I was being smothered and controlled. And then next to my mother, standing on a chair, was another person. It was the church on a pedestal. So my connection to my mother, the church, the activities of the church, and everything around the church. As a little kid, I had some wonderful nicknames. One was called, Church Mouse, Mama's Little Boy. Oh, they were really good to me back then. It's totally amazing. It's funny how God works in mysterious ways. I didn't realize this, but on the 4th of July, there's a house down the street from me right here in Holiday City, 5 doors away, where a lady lives. And a lady that goes to church with me on Sunday said to me one day, she said, there's a lady that lives at that certain house, she said, and she knows you. She knew your mom and dad. You should go talk to her. I said, she knew my mom and dad. Yeah, she's 92 years old, and she was over your house when you were a kid. I went down the street, I knocked on the door, I went to talk to her. I sat at her kitchen table, and I found out that she was 10 years older than me, but she lived around the corner from me. Her mother and my mother were best friends. I used to have coffee and spend time together all the time. And her mom was in my house all the time. And all of a sudden I realized her sister was my classmate in school. She gave me her sister's phone number. I'm now going to get in touch with her too. And we got to reminisce about the old days, about the family, about different types of things. So it's just interesting sometimes And she had lived in that house for the past 20 years, and I've been here 22 years. I never knew it. And all of a sudden, something clicked. And I realized over and over again, this led me back to the little boy, the little child inside of me, to be able to reminisce and go over things that were connected to my inner child. God works in funny ways and sends messengers at the funniest time, in the funniest places. They just happen to arrive. It's totally amazing. I see all this and I realize over and over again that as they built the sculpting, they actually had different people play my issues. What they did was they surrounded me, the issues. My major issues were fear and guilt, two big ones, worry, anxiety, shame, isolation, a lot of hiding. And so as a result, they put these all around me, they smothered me with it. And my therapist really, they even put a blanket over the top of me so I would feel smothering even more. What they did was they did a visual of what my family was like as a little boy. And that little kid got smothered. Then they do something called a re-sculpting. And so we have somebody play me as an adult. And the adult then was able to help re-sculpture the child. The adult then went over to depression, took depression off the child, and turned the depression into anger and into grieving. It took addiction off my mother's back and gave me the gift of recovery. So now it's the adult and recovery. We have two people together working on disassembling this child. And then I won't go through the whole thing, but we worked on each issue, taking each issue and taking the issue off the child and putting all the issues into a jail cell. They're my issues, by the way. They'll be my issues till 10 years after I'm dead. And once in a while, the little suckers break out of jail and come and visit. I got to keep putting them back. And that's where I need recovery. I need the program. Then my adult asked the church to get off the pedestal, to come down on a normal level. The church is part of my life, but it's not up on a pedestal anymore. It's not a control mechanism anymore. My vision of God has changed. My connection has changed. Then the adult actually told my father was next to my mother, but with his back to her, facing out in the community. Because when I was born, my mother's attention went to me, not to my dad anymore. His attention went out to the community. So the adult in me says, Daddy, come back and be part of the family. Then the adult told my mother to please get off the child and allow that child to become free, to stand up. And then the vision of my new family has me, my little child, recovery, standing in the middle. Next to us is anger, not really next to us, behind us. When I need that feelings and stuff, I'll call on it. Has the church still there, but behind me now, not in front of me. I have this new vision of life, and recovery has joined us. It's like I have this new family now. That whole diagram of doing that was so powerful. Helped me to begin to realize the things in life I had to be able to shed and open up to begin to see changes take place in the course of my journey in life. And I'm grateful for that today. In fact, if you come in my office, I have a plaque on the wall of the gentleman that helped me with all this stuff. He's deceased now, but I put his picture up there on a plaque in gratitude. And every once in a while, I look at it, so it reminds me of the stuff that's important. And that's the beautiful part about this journey. And so the thing we talk about with the inner child is it's learning how to have the adult inside of us, the love adult, by the way, not the trauma adult. Have that love adult, talk to that little child, heal it, allow it to grow, and give it a sense of balance. And now we have family. We have the little child, we have the adult, We have our support groups or our recovery programs. We have people around us that give us support and love. We're part of a family, part of a community, we're part of growth. It's a thing of letting go. Because unfortunately, too many of us, codependents, are either all adult or all child. We don't have any balance. Remember the visual I did about the clock? See, codependents love to sit on top of a clock with a pendulum. The only problem is they take the pendulum and they hold it with their right hand. You can't figure out why the clock's not ticking. Then everybody convinces them to let go. They let go with one hand, they catch it with the other hand. It's only until you let it go completely and let that pendulum swing to balance. And that's the balance we need between the adult and the child. A little child needs a voice. That little child's been waiting for us for a long time. And that's where the balance has to come into play. I shared all this with you about the inner child because I truly believe we have that beautiful little lovely child deep down inside of us. We also have the adult. We have to move away from the trauma adult to the adult of love, the adult of being able to be active, but not do it with fear, do it with love. Because fear will cause us all kinds of problems. The world we live in today, especially today, there's a lot of fear out there. We have to be able to face fear with love. Whatever happens in life, remember, each one of us has to be able to connect with one another, support one another, and be able to call upon the God of our understanding for help and guidance in all that we do. And believe me, the messengers will arrive. The only thing is when they arrive, please listen to them. Sometimes we get a little thick-headed. We don't want to hear them. I want to do it my way. Well, have fun. You get tired. And you realize there are many ways, not just my way. So I want to do a closing meditation and just a little prayer with you tonight to take you out to really truly understand the balance between the adult and the child. So I want to ask you once again to close your eyes. Take a deep breath and just relax. And just kind of go with me tonight. I want you to visualize yourself leaving your house, leaving the room you're in, and going on a journey. Visualize yourself walking down a corridor. At the end of the corridor, there's a beautiful, beautiful golden door. I'd like you to walk up to that door, reach up, and open that door. As you open that beautiful golden door, you notice on the other side there is nothing but darkness. But way off in the distance, there's a beautiful, beautiful golden light shining. I would like you now to walk towards that light. As you get closer and closer to the light, it becomes even more bright, more beautiful, and more powerful until you find yourself walking into the light. Visualize yourself surrounded by the golden light of peace and serenity, the golden light of calmness and gentleness. And as you bathe yourself in this beautiful, beautiful golden light, visualize coming forward towards you in the distance, a beautiful pink light. As it gets closer and closer and closer, it gets brighter and more beautiful till eventually you are surrounded by the pink light of love. Bathe yourself in these two lights, the golden light of serenity and peace and calmness, and the pink and energy light of love. And as you bathe yourself in these two lights, you notice from the pink light, someone walking towards you. It is a little child. Now that little child walks up to you, looks up at you, and looks in your eyes. You look at that little child. You realize that little child is you. That child jumps into your arms, hugs you, holds you, and says to you, I've been waiting for you for a long time. I have come to give you the energy and the power of my love. I have come to be joined to you. I have come to walk with you and be part of you. For I am your little child. I am your love. I am your energy. I would like you now to take that beautiful little child and to walk with that child back towards the door, the golden door. But notice, as long as you hold on to that little child, keep that little child close to you. The golden light of peace, serenity, the pink light of love, all the energies will go right along with you. I'd like you now to bring that little child back with you into your house, into wherever you are. And as you bring that child with you and hold on to that child, we see how the light of energy, love, calmness, and gentleness, and how the beauty of love fills you and fills your home. Feel that energy, feel that specialness, and feel that love. I'd like you to take a moment now and just allow that gift to flow within you, to feel that energy, to feel the gift the little child has given you. Dear God, thank you for the gift of your love. Thank you for the beautiful little child we have within. Teach us to honor that child, to take that energy, to live it, and to share it with others. If we share the energy of love through the struggles and fears of this world, we'll be able to become healers, give the gift of healing to all that we meet. And so we pray tonight that you will guide us and be with us and teach us every day as we begin our day to ask for your guidance, your love, and your direction, and be open to the messengers and the people you will send into our life. We pray and we ask this in gratitude. We pray and we ask it in love. And we ask this in your name. Amen. And now you can open your eyes, come back, and I'm going to get the maestro, wherever I can, there she is. I'm going to get the maestro to lead us in the serenity.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.